I really hope that in Return of the King, Smeagol redeems himself and officially turns back to good. His story is really sad, and I really hope that his character has a happy ending. He gives into the darkness. But like I said earlier, I really hope that in the Return of the King, he turns good again. Well, that sure didn't happen. Hello everybody! If you don't know, I've recently been watching The Lord of the Rings for the first time. I've already made videos about the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers, which you can watch clicking there. Today is the finale, the final part, the Return of the King. And I just have to say, man was it good. What a finale. So much stuff happened. And to be honest, this video was just going to be scratching the surface of everything that happened in this movie. So I think I'll start off by talking about Gollum. As you saw in my last video, and at the beginning of this video, I was hoping that Smeagol was going to finally be free of Gollum once for all, and finally turn back to good. But you know, that didn't happen. But like, I thought they were setting it up at the beginning of the movie, showing Smeagol finding the ring. But then he fell off the cliff fighting Frodo, and I was like, well, I guess they're not gonna do that now since he's dead. But then psych, he's still alive, they're gonna actually do it. But then he actually dies, falling into lava. Which was really sad. I mean, it was good, because by that point he was really gonna kill Frodo for the ring. But it was sad that he died as Gollum. It looked like in Two Towers that Smeagol was coming back and he was going towards good. But in this movie, he went so far the other way, so far to evil, and that was sadly his demise. I mean, I guess he kinda had to die, because the ring allowed him to live way more than a normal lifetime, so he would have just died anyway once the ring was destroyed. Now, just like in my last video, I want to highlight a certain scene that shows the relationship between Smeagol and Gollum. It's the scene where Smeagol is talking to Gollum in the reflection of the river. This reminded me a lot of the scene from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man when Norman Osborn is talking to the Green Goblin side of him in the mirror. And in a lot of ways, the Green Goblin and Gollum stories are very similar. For one thing, they both got the whole G thing going on. But really, they were both just trying to live normal lives, one as a hobbit, and the other as the head of a successful company. Then they do something, with the help of a friend, that creates their evil persona. Deagle finds the ring, and Dr. Mendel Stromm helps Norman become the Green Goblin. Then, they kill their friend. The evil personality controls the good personality for a while. There comes a point where the good personality looks like it's coming back to defeat the evil one, but instead the evil one prevails and ends up killing itself trying to kill the protagonist. Now I want to talk about Frodo and Sam and how their relationship is affected by Gollum. So I think in Two Towers we were leaning more into Frodo's side of the whole thing, seeing the good in Smeagol. But in this movie, we're completely flipped. Now we're on Sam's side, because we know that Gollum is trying to kill them. And the scene where Gollum frames Sam for eating all the elven bread is just heartbreaking. However, I do have to give props to Gollum because he really made it look believable. He sprinkled some crumbs on Sam's shoulder and would always call him the fat one, reinforcing in Frodo's mind that he would eat the food. Gollum was using some high-level mind tricks on this one. He must have been watching Only JS on TikTok or something. Psychology tricks to play with someone's mind that I may or may not use. You'll never know. And also the fact that Sam offers to carry the ring for a while, trying to be helpful. But Frodo sees it as him trying to steal the ring because Gollum said he would do that earlier. So then Frodo tells Sam to go back and leaves with Gollum, and it's just the biggest misunderstanding of the most terrible things that could all happen at once, and just So Sam leaves, but once he gets to the bottom of the hill, he finds the elven bread. So now he realizes that Frodo is definitely in trouble, and he goes back for him. Meanwhile, Gollum is leading Frodo to a giant spider that's gonna kill him. And then, he sings a song about it. Wouldn't have dead rhymed better than eaten? Like seriously, Gollum, I know you're a psychopath and talk strange, but at least get your rhyming together. Anyway, Frodo escapes the spider, fights Gollum, ends up throwing him off the cliff to his death. Now I want to take this moment to point out how many fake deaths are in this trilogy. I mean, I thought Disney loved fake out deaths, but I guess Tolkien loved them just as much, if not more. Of course, that's assuming that all the fake out deaths in the movies also happen in the books. But like, you have Gandalf, Pippin and Merry, Aragorn, Faramir, Gollum, as I just mentioned, and later, in that same scene, Frodo. And that's not even counting the questionable or technical or kind of ones like Theoden, Gollum in Two Towers, and Arwen. Speaking of Arwen, we finally get to see the results of the love triangle-ish thing. And Aragorn picks Arwen. That's pretty much it. Even if it tells Eowyn, nah girl, and then becomes king and marries Arwen. But it's okay, because Eowyn ends up with Faramir, Boromir's brother. And in this movie, we finally get introduced to his and Boromir's father, Denethor, who is basically the worst human being ever. I mean, he openly tells Faramir that he liked Boromir better, and he basically enslaves Pippin, and he almost burns his son and himself alive. And then this happens.
So passes Denethor, son of Ecthelion.
I mean, I just have no idea what was going on with this guy. He is just crazy. Okay, I think it's time to talk about the ending, or the endings. Frodo destroys the ring with the help of Sam, and I guess Gollum. Then Frodo and Sam escape Mount Doom, and the movie ends. And then the movie ends, and the movie ends again, and then the movie ends 10 more times. I've always heard people saying that this movie has like 5 endings, and I never believed them. And actually, I still don't, because I think it's more like 10. I mean, this movie went on for 40 minutes more than it needed to. Don't get me wrong, it was all good stuff, but 40 minutes? Like, the first 2 times I was happy. I was like, okay, I'm glad it didn't end with Frodo and Sam in the lava. But by the end, I was like, okay, this is going on for a bit too long. Now, before I say my final thoughts on this movie and the trilogy as a whole, I want to point out the final similarities to Star Wars. I mean, first of all, Return of the King, Return of the Jedi. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Also, you have the death of the small creature introduced in the previous movie. You have a big battle happening outside of where the main protagonist is having a smaller scale battle. You have the main protagonist just barely make it out of where the battle occurred as it's exploding or falling apart. And you have a big party at the end celebrating that the dark days are over. And like 10 to 20 years after this movie, a prequel trilogy starts. Alright, now let's talk about my final thoughts. I really loved and got invested into the story and all of the characters. Every single character was interesting to me in some way, whether good or bad. From Aragorn, the awesome, pure good guy, who everything he does is just pure epicness. To Gollum, the corrupted, sometimes good, sometimes bad guy, who you kind of feel bad for, but also kind of hate. To even Denethor, who was just so crazy and horrible that every time he was on screen, I was just like, what the heck is this guy doing? But at the core of this trilogy, the theme is doing the right thing, even when that's not the easiest thing to do. Frodo has to destroy the ring, because that's the right thing to do, and that's his task. But as we see, that is a very hard thing to accomplish. Not only because the journey to Mount Doom is difficult and dangerous, but because the ring creates a bond with and corrupts the ring holder. So even when he gets to Mount Doom and is about to destroy the ring, he doesn't at first, and I guess technically doesn't really do it at all because he and Gollum accidentally fall off the ledge. Also, speaking of Gollum, he shows the opposite end of the spectrum, what happens when you don't do the right thing. He gave in to the evil, and that was his ultimate demise. Now, Frodo and Gollum aren't the only 2 examples of this. And honestly, probably every character is an example of this. But the one I want to focus on is Sam. I think you can make the argument that Sam is actually the main protagonist of this story. I mean, we're shown and told time and time again that Frodo would have never made it to Mount Doom without Sam. And Frodo gives Sam the book at the end of the movie. So, I don't know, there might be something there, I might make a future video about it. But if Frodo is the example of being tempted by the darkness, but eventually doing the right thing, and Gollum is the example of giving into the darkness and not doing the right thing, Sam is the example of doing the right thing without any temptations. Throughout the trilogy, he is the one who keeps Frodo on track in the moments where he strays into darkness. And one of the best moments of the trilogy is when Sam carries Frodo up to Mount Doom when he can't go any further.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you!
Anyway, I really enjoyed and fell in love with this trilogy, and I could already tell it's going to be something that I rewatch over and over again and find something new every time. Please comment your thoughts below, and remember to like and subscribe. If you haven't watched my previous 2 I Watched Lord of the Rings for the First Time videos, you can watch them by clicking here, or click here to watch a video that YouTube recommends for you. With that said, that's a wrap.